Hello, welcome to this update for the U.S. and Canada. So let's see, this will be a faster video today, but just to highlight some important stuff. So we have now this system part of the central U.S. and a bigger one on the west and also in parts of southwestern Canada. So the main thing happening now is that ice storm parts of uh, Nebraska and Iowa, northern Missouri, and even southern Minnesota. So let's see. We also have some thunderstorms further south, here as you can see on the satellite, and the ice has already started there, but during the next 24 hours we will have more, especially in Iowa. So this from the National Weather Service, the potential ice accumulation. So that they do show close to even like as 0.5 inches in some specific spots in Iowa there, but most of Iowa around 0.25, 0.5. Southern Minnesota expect some more ice as well. So now it's already happening in parts of Iowa and Nebraska, but it might happen also in northwestern Illinois and parts of Wisconsin as well. And does show a tiny bit of ice, like 0.5 or something, in Michigan as well. So be careful in those areas, and especially with the freezing rain, with slippery surfaces and everything. So be careful. But here they do have uh, the warnings. So let's see here. So there are some winter weather advisories all throughout there, and the ice storm warning, especially in central Iowa to more eastern Iowa, where the heaviest accumulations will be. So it does show here significant icing, additional ice accumulations between 2 tenths and 3 tenths of an inch, with locally higher amounts up to 4 or 5 tenths in southeastern Iowa. Uh, some parts of central, south central, southeast Iowa, and until noon central state time today. So now I'm making this video is like 8 or 7 in the morning or something. So the worst of it will last until noon. So if you watch this video after that, it might be better already, but I still think there might be some ice later. So let's see the impacts. Roads, especially bridges and overpass, will be likely to become slick and hazardous. Significant ice accumulation, power lines, and tree limbs may cause widespread, long-lasting power outages, and power outages and tree damage are likely due to the ice. Travel could be nearly impossible. So be careful those areas. So let's see here, because the worst of it is like now through noon, but the models do keep this still until later today. So this is European time, so this will be around noon there. Still some ice. So this goes, but about this afternoon, or this like tonight, right? Shows still some spots of ice in Wisconsin, southern Minnesota, even a finger or two in Iowa, and into Sunday still shows a tiny bit of ice in Michigan, the European, and it also shows in the Appalachians some there, and like there's a better model to see this the precipitation type. So now there's all this ice there, the freezing rain purple. This does show a finger or two later into Michigan, and even showing like Montana, North Dakota, showing some ice into Saskatchewan and other areas. But interesting, showing also near Virginia, West Virginia tomorrow, Sunday, in the Appalachians, and later showing some snow to the northeast and more to Pennsylvania. Some tiny bits of ice into the northeast as well. So there are also some other opinions, like the GFS goes into Iowa there, shows also in Wisconsin, Michigan a little bit today into tomorrow, and some in North Dakota and Montana a little bit. And then does go into Sunday, shows some in the Appalachians, but not as much as the European. So yeah, be careful in those areas. There's the ice accumulation next 12 hours from the European. Does show northern Missouri there, and Iowa especially, more ice. And then if we put this to like 24 hours, does show some more across eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois. So be careful there. And does shows a little bit in Washington, some mountains, and another spot or two. So be careful. There's the GFS as well, shows more there in Iowa, into Illinois or Wisconsin. So be careful those areas. But here, there's also here. Let's see if I find it. Here, let's see. Good. So because there the ice probabilities here, so excessive rainfall, ice. So there now this is the probability of freezing rain accumulating, of course close to 100% in Iowa now, and then into Sundays still shows this is like tonight or something, and until Sunday shows more there in the Appalachians, still some probabilities. This is weird that the probabilities are still there Sunday, but by tonight it might be over in Iowa, but still gotta watch. Montana shows already some probabilities there, like I showed you. Later into Monday, still Montana some, and the Appalachians into Monday showing some more probabilities, and in some other areas of the West, especially in Oregon and California, the mountains in Washington, and showing like some more probabilities in the Northeast later. So be careful, just like we can see here, um, the freezing rain in the red shaded areas in Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, also in the Appalachians, day one, showing more in Montana there, and those areas some heavy snow in some mountains of the west and the mixed precipitation, the storms and some rain in the mid-south. For Sunday still shows the freezing rain possible South Dakota, Montana, North Dakota, and even parts of New York, Pennsylvania, the Appalachians. Some freezing rain possible into Sunday and the snow across parts of the west. Day 3 shows more, still a spot or two of freezing rain possible, but more mixed precipitation across the northwest and the north. So be careful in those areas. And excessive rainfall, a slight risk in California, but this until 12Z, so this like from yesterday to now. So be careful. Day 1 still a slight risk for Saturday today, so be careful, some flash flooding problems. Day 2 nothing, and Monday still nothing, Tuesday, Wednesday still nothing, so be careful there. The precipitation day 1 through 7 shows some more cause, like especially in Ohio, in Indiana, parts of the mid-south, and shows also southeastern Florida some more, and more like the northeast some more rain. Some quarters of the west are a little bit more quiet, but some more cause the northwest heavier there. So day 1 Saturday, Sunday, let's see, into Monday, Tuesday some more cause the southeast, the south, Wednesday more cause the east showing, Thursday and still some on the west, and next Friday. So be careful those areas. And there's the here the hazards. Let's see if it works like this. So they do have high winds and heavy precipitation day 1, day 3 through 7. High winds near the northern plains in Alaska, and heavy precipitation in California and southern Alaska and Washington. So be aware. Day 8 through 14 does show some high winds, high risk in Alaska and across the northwest, and some heavy snow in the mix there too, Washington and Oregon, and more in the north some heavy snow, much below average temperatures, so be careful. And now let's see the winter storms severity index, especially for those areas there. It's not showing that severity, but this mainly for ice accumulation in Iowa there. So be careful. Also some in Montana, the ice accumulation, Michigan, and the snow amount mainly across the west, those areas of major, even extreme, and be aware also in Idaho, parts of Wyoming, Montana, and Washington, those areas. And also in the northeast, a thing or two. So be careful there. And also the other warnings, the winter storm warnings in California, some wind weather advisories throughout uh, parts southwestern Montana, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, parts of Wyoming, northern Utah. So be aware, and the winter weather advisories there near the freezing rain, but also some snow in the mix in South Dakota, North Dakota, parts of Illinois, and those areas. Also, some winter weather advisories, winter storm watches near the Appalachians already. Some wind advisory, wind warnings across the west. Just click on any warning here. Shows the winds, winter storm warnings, the wind products. So be careful, and yeah. So be aware. So now let's see the GFS. It's showing the storm there now with the ice in parts of the plains. This goes closer to the northeast, some ice in the Appalachians and some snow in the northeast Monday. And then showing that bigger front on Tuesday, some snow across central Canada into some parts of northeastern Canada later on the 18th, and showing some more still lingering around Alaska and western Canada. So this around the 19th Thursday shows some more snow across western Canada and some rain in the northwest, and is forming a bigger system like right in the Midwest on the 18th, more snow in the northeast and eastern Canada on the 19th, and more stuff maybe on the west later. But this information updates many times per day, so I'm just showing you some things, but it will change, especially far out in time. Now the European shows that freezing rain in Iowa, Illinois, and those other areas, showing that strip of freezing rain in parts of Saskatchewan and Montana, and a tiny bit of snow Sunday to Monday, especially Sunday, like yeah, and then shows Mars front to the northwest, showing on Monday more snow and rain, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, even British Columbia and other areas. And then it is getting that snow to central Canada, the front down into the U.S., and is producing more snow through December 17th through northeastern Canada. Then gets another front to the 19th, across the northeast to more snow and rain. Not a system through northern U.S., central Canada on the 20th with more snow. European even has more after that through central Canada, northern U.S., and some more systems on the south later. And yeah, even more later to watch. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. And there's the icon too, shows the icon. I don't think it has freezing rain, but it does have the system there with the snow, especially across the west. Then the one goes to the northeast, some snow there, and more across central Canada in the US later. So be aware, we'll make more videos as those things unfold, but just a small recap on the temperature. So there, uh, on the National Weather Service, we did have some extreme cold warnings in Alaska. So dangerously cold, wind chills as low as minus 60 Fahrenheit. So please be careful in those areas. Now here it shows across parts of Canada some minus 29 Celsius, like some minus 39, even close to minus 50, the wind chills, and shows more there. So be careful, those wind chills, very cold temperatures, shows more across like Ontario, Quebec, those cold temperatures, even Labrador, along the coast, New Brunswick, many areas very cold as well, to Nova Scotia. And then this goes showing Saturday to Sunday, still tremendously cold up there, and even to northern British Columbia and Alberta in some areas. And then to Monday, this goes, the cold starts diving down smoothly, like some minus 33 northern British Columbia, some minus 39 across the north. Nunavut very cold across northern Manitoba already, especially in Alberta. Then this is the 17th, Wednesday the 18th shows this cold diving down east. Already like south central Saskatchewan, minus 30, minus 25, not in Manitoba and to Quebec, so be aware in Ontario. And yeah, in the north already shows some spots on the 18th close to like minus 43 degrees Celsius, so really be careful. Wind chills like that might be close to minus 60 or something, so be careful. This goes, and shows like still on the 20th, very cold temperatures, much of central Canada and the north and across the east as well. So be careful. Now, let's see if they have something here. There are some warnings across Alberta and British Columbia, and some in Quebec. As of now, is the map is a little bit more quiet, but this might change. Changes all the time. So check the link in the description. So they do say some fog advisories there, some parts of Yukon, especially this morning. In Quebec, some blizzard warnings in the north, wind and blizzard warnings, and more blizzard warnings in those towns there. So be aware, blizzard conditions, and yeah, so Saturday evening to Sunday morning says here. So I don't know what just happened here, but here. So let's see, some parts of British Columbia, wind warnings and rainfall. Rainfall parts of eastern Vancouver Island and some special weather statements in not areas. So be careful. As some elevated ocean water as well. Those special weather statements. Some wind advisories. Newfoundland and Labrador. Snow squall watches. Even a wind warning array. So be aware. Some maximum gusts there, and some snow squall watches. So shows continue until this afternoon. Be careful, and Quebec, I showed you. So yeah, be aware and check this link in the description to see more there. And for example, that's already next Friday, but like this weekend, it does show some colder temperatures near southern Ontario as well, some spots in southern Quebec, very cold Sunday. Into Monday, maybe a little bit less cold, but later the cold will dive down again next week. So be careful. Now, snow accumulation does show here more until just Monday. Shows that snow in the northeast, like where's inches here. So shows in the Appalachians some 5 inches, West Virginia, Pennsylvania some 2 inches, and in Iowa does show like 1 inch and something, and Wisconsin it is just snow, not freezing rain. So this goes there and shows more in the mountains of California, some 22 inches or even more, the Sierra Nevada, and shows more there Nevada, especially northern Nevada, and some areas there. Shows in Idaho some 15 inches in Oregon. It even shows near the coast on some spots, but mainly the mountains. In eastern Oregon, shows more in Washington there. The mountains some 10 inches, 16 inches in a spot or two, and somewhere in North Dakota, central southern Montana, western Montana. Then until Thursday, the 19th, does increase, especially across the west in Washington. This is some 42 inches, showing more across Oregon, some areas, and some snow around the north there, in the Midwest a little bit. It does show this fine trail of snow throughout the northeast until next Thursday. Some 5 inches, 4 inches, New York some 7 inches. And the GFS now has like that snow in the northeast as well. Pennsylvania, this until next Thursday. New York some more, but it has more like northern Maine, not so much on the coast like the European. It's more across the Midwest and some areas, and some 1 inch, 2 inches across the north, and does have more like in Idaho, Wyoming, some 14 inches, especially across some mountains of California, some 26 inches, some like 22 inches as well in Oregon. So yeah, be aware, the snow, but nothing that crazy. Now, here does show in southwestern Canada the heavier snow in British Columbia until Thursday, so more than 170 centimeters, some mountains there, but just until early on Tuesday only shows some 64 centimeters. So this will accumulate throughout the days, but there will be days with heavier snow into next week. So be careful. In Vancouver Island shows some big accumulations too, and does show that snow lingering around Saskatchewan, Alberta, some more there, like through eastern British Columbia as well, some more in the mountains, northern British Columbia. It shows more in southern Ontario as well, some snow there, and more throughout like Quebec. It does show like southern Quebec some 7 centimeters, 9, 18 centimeters. New Brunswick, that fine trail of snow does show some there, some some 10 centimeters, and even more, but central northern Quebec shows more, there's some 39 for 40 centimeters. Be aware. And from Newfoundland and Labrador shows some as well, some 28 centimeters, especially across the west there. And yeah, it shows some southern northwestern territories, uh, Alberta, and some in Yukon on the next 5 days. Might be some in northern Nunavut and some areas of the northern northwestern territories right on the coast. So yeah, and some light Arctic snow further north. So be aware, the GFS is also across Quebec, more snow than the next 5 days, more in Ontario, parts of northern Saskatchewan, Alberta, northwestern territories in Yukon, some. It does have those heavy accumulations in the mountains of British Columbia, those areas. So be careful there. And the winds, they are stronger across the west with these systems now, but this is Saturday into Sunday does show those strong winds across southern British Columbia there, and especially Vancouver Island, some higher gusts. Be careful, the higher gusts there shows more into southwestern British Columbia. This goal still shows late tonight more there, and into Sunday it diminishes a little bit, but still some gusty winds in some mountains there, and in Alberta especially. So beware, Sunday, late into Sunday, some in Alberta still. This goes into Monday, showing a little bit breezy along the coast still on Tuesday, and it does have some high gusts later on Tuesday again in Vancouver Island, some parts of western British Columbia, and even some more areas there. So be aware. And like Tuesday to Wednesday, and a little bit higher parts of southern British Columbia, but more in Alberta, like southern Alberta, showing some higher gusts there. Those mountains, so be careful Wednesday into Thursday. Into Wednesday night, the 18th, is showing some very crazy gusts, the European, more in southern British Columbia, those high gusts, Vancouver Island in many areas, more there. And so be aware, but especially in Alberta, showing more southeastern British Columbia, and some very high gusts there in Alberta, and shows more there like into southern Alberta in the mountains, more than 100 km per gust on the 18th. On the 19th, still some high gusts there, showing more Saskatchewan, and yeah, this goes maybe on the Great Lakes later on the 20th, and more. But yeah, and on the east, we do still have a little bit higher gusts in Newfoundland and Labrador, some areas there. This goes Saturday today, Sunday still northern Labrador, and a little bit breezier some parts of Quebec, especially right on Hudson Bay. So be aware. Then this goes Sunday, still breezy in Quebec and Labrador. Showing into Tuesday there, mark of southern Ontario and southern Quebec, a little bit more breezy in the Great Lakes. This goes still breezy in Quebec and Ontario on Tuesday, and shows this system like in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, starting eastern Quebec, some higher gusts Tuesday, and then this goes on the 17th, later the 17th to the 18th on Wednesday, shows more there, and throughout like especially Wednesday mornings and during the night shows Saharagas, Nova Scotia to Newfoundland as well. So be aware, Wednesday to Thursday this goes, and more looming in some areas later, especially around the 22nd, more across the east and potential the west again. So be aware. Now here we do have across California today some higher gusts in the mountains. You can go to 62 mile per gust by the European. This goes along the coast as well. In San Francisco, quite breezy, and some other areas there. So be aware in Oregon as well, and also northern Colorado. The European shows a little bit higher gusts into Wyoming. So be aware, some 50 mile per gust in Oregon, northeastern Oregon, parts of southern Oregon. Be aware in the coast of Washington there. Be aware. So this goes Saturday today, gets higher in Washington, so 50 mile per gust, even to 63 in some parts of northernmost Washington. It shows more there across like northern Washington, in those areas. So be aware. In Oregon, still northern Montana, still those higher gusts uh, later today, but Central California does show an increase on those gusts like tonight or something, especially the Sierra Nevada. So be careful there, California, Central Eastern California, and more there along those areas. So this goes Saturday into Sunday. Does transition some higher gusts in Nevada, a little bit slightly higher, and for Utah, some parts of South Central California, mainly in the mountains, and shows more Wyoming, a little bit higher gusts into Sunday. Then this goes Sunday, there's still northern Washington by like the middle of the night, be aware still, and northern Montana a little bit breezy, and Sunday night shows those Argus in Wyoming, BYU Wyoming again, some spots of Colorado, and some thin mountains in northern New Mexico, so be aware. And then this goes, shows another front in Oregon, California into Monday. This is some more 50 mile per gusts. So be careful there. Some other mountains in Northern California, those areas, and in South Dakota, quite breezy, not quite, but a little bit, and North Dakota into Nebraska, and some spots of Wyoming and Colorado. So Monday, this goes there. It's breezier across the east, but we'll see the east in a second. It shows more Wyoming, Colorado. Tuesday the 17th into starting to Wednesday, show more than 65 miles per gust in Montana, those mountains of northern Montana, breezy in some other areas too, and Washington there, showing more breezy. But later Wednesday into Thursday, start showing those crazy gusts there, starting Wednesday morning, alright, across Washington, showing some higher gusts. Be careful there. Montana, the European like radically crazy. Although 70 mile per gust, shows more central Montana there. This Wednesday the 18th. This goal spreads for a big portion of Washington, northern Oregon, showing some higher gusts. So be careful, central to northern Montana there, and still in Wyoming, a little bit higher. And into Thursday, just transitions more to northern Idaho and Montana, so be careful. Still in Washington, some 49, 50 mile per gust, and much of northern Montana there, even central Montana, showing some mountains right from Montana, Wyoming, so some higher gusts, and especially those areas of northern Montana. Be careful. This goes into Thursday, more into eastern Montana. Be aware there, North Dakota. Shows more in Colorado, Wyoming, or next Thursday. So be aware. Still Montana there into Friday. This pulls into like Minnesota and some areas, and the Great Lakes again. And the does show on the 21st December, more Pennsylvania, some higher gusts, and especially across New York, the Mid-Atlantic, some higher gusts on the 22nd, and potentially more across the west after the 22nd as well. But that's very far out, and this is just one model. It might not happen exactly like this because this forecast change a lot. But let's see, just a recap of the GFS. So it shows the breezy conditions in northeastern Canada now, and the system in California and parts of the northwest in Canada. Does show Sunday to Monday the plains, and does show like Monday some higher gusts the southern Midwest. Tuesday shows the northeast, some more gusts in New York and Quebec and north areas. So this goes into Atlantic Canada Wednesday, showing some higher gusts. Still showing across the west, Wednesday to Thursday. Doesn't have those crazy winds like the European, but Thursday does have a little bit higher the north in some areas, and more later. So yeah, be aware and know that it might change. So here, uh, we do have the National Weather Service, the 24-hour max wind gusts. So very breezy across California, especially the Sierra Nevada. Those browns are almost 70 mile per hour gusts plus, like 65 to 70. So be careful those high mountains. This is just until Sunday in 24 hours. Shows more in Wyoming, some 50, 60 mile per hour gusts, and breezy across big parts of the mountains there of the west, maybe along the Atlantic and some areas, but mainly the open ocean, showing a tiny bit breezy those central Midwest areas. So be aware they have the 48-hour snow. This is rainfall, but the 48-hour snowfall. I already showed you some snow, but they do have some snow starting in the northeast next 48 hours. But there'll be this just until early on Monday. Uh, there'll be more later Monday to Tuesday there. It shows more across California and the Sierra Nevada, the Cascades, and more in Idaho, big parts of Idaho, into like Wyoming, especially across the west, in Montana, in some areas there, even northern Colorado. In California, could get some 30 inches plus in the highest elevations, even to Wyoming there in some areas. So be careful there. Now it's still cold across the northeast, some 20s, 30s, and more there in the north. Shows colder in the mountains there as well. This is the maximum temperature today. Does shows some 70s in the South Texas, Arizona, and Florida, even California. So yeah, be aware, but especially Florida. And as Saturday to Sunday morning does show those colder temperatures there in the north. Some spots of northern Michigan could be all the way down to like some 1 Fahrenheit, 2 Fahrenheit, or even less, showing widespread 3, 10 Fahrenheit across the northeast, 15, 19 Fahrenheit. You see that 3 there, some darker purple areas could be close to like 1 Fahrenheit, potentially some negative Fahrenheit in northern Michigan, and showing more across some teens and single digits near North Dakota, Montana, some 20s, the Rockies, teens, especially some spots in Colorado, some very high spots. You see that white, that dark purple, could be close to like minus 10 Fahrenheit or something, the high peaks, and some more teens and 20s there. Shows more on the east as well, some 30s all the way down to North Carolina, and more across the west, some 30s in some areas. Sunday, the maximum temperature, some 70s in Florida and Texas again, and even an 80 there. And shows still some 30s the northeast, the Appalachians, and more cold temperatures the mountains of the west, even during the day, the high elevations, and more across the north there. So be aware. And day 2 does show those cold temperatures Sunday night to Monday morning move for further into the northeast there. So let's just put this the northeast for a moment. So does show Monday morning close to minus 10 Fahrenheit northern New York, minus 9, minus 5, minus 3, so 9, 5 Fahrenheit northern parts of Maine, some 30s in this is some parts of New Jersey, some 19, 20s in New Jersey, and yeah, so some 20s and even like teens in Pennsylvania. So be aware those areas, the northeast Sunday night to Monday morning. Across the plains, more the north, some 20s, even teens, and very cold in the Sierra Nevada and the Rockies and northern mountains in between. Some 20s all the way down to southern New Mexico, some 30s. So be aware. And day 3, during the day, Monday does show some 70s and 80s in Florida again, and some parts of the south, and more like some 30s in some spots of the northeast, and still very cold in the mountains of the west, especially Wyoming and Montana and Idaho, and some areas of North Dakota, and still cold during the day of Monday. But Monday night until Tuesday, it shows a little bit less on the northeast because the cold has moved away, but still some 30s there. Shows again some 20 Fahrenheit northern North Dakota on Monday to Tuesday, and more 30s and 20s all the way down to Kansas, some 30s all the way down to Texas, and some 30s the Midwest, some 20s, and very cold across the Rockies, Colorado, and parts of Wyoming, some 20s in other areas. So be careful. Day 4, Tuesday afternoon, still cold across Minnesota and the Dakotas and parts of Wyoming, not Wyoming but Wisconsin, and still cold across like Colorado, the mountains of Wyoming, parts of Idaho and those areas. So be aware. And some 70s in the south again, maybe some 80s in Florida, and it does show Tuesday, uh, Monday night to Tuesday. This like Tuesday morning, yeah, shows some minus 4 North Dakota again, some 0, 4 degrees, 5 degrees, some 20s and 30s all the way down to northern Texas. Very cold, some teens and single digits in the Rockies of Colorado, Wyoming, the same thing. beware the mountains of California, Nevada, and Oregon. Those areas again some tour is the northeast and Midwest. Now Tuesday afternoon does show very cold still, those 20s and teens the north there, and 30s is still cold in the mountains there, some areas during the day and some parts of the northeast. But Wednesday morning does show some 30s all the way down to central Texas, and some single digits and teens in much the Midwest and the northern plains, especially the north there, and shows more 20s and teens across the Rockies and some single digits in the high elevations of Wyoming, Colorado, and some other areas, and more like some 30s and 20s in the northeast again. Day 6 shows more Thursday afternoon, still coldish the northeast and the north there, and some the colder temperatures, the high elevations there, and day 6 minimum temperatures, and until next Thursday morning. So that was Wednesday during the day, I think. So yeah, so shows more Thursday morning, some -2, -1, the north there, some 5, 11 Fahrenheit, very cold there, some 30s all the way down to Louisiana, some 20s, much central US, some 30s, the northeast, some 20s and teens, and like 40s, northern Florida, parts of Texas, and very cold in the mountains, the high elevations there of the west, some 20s, teens, scared, and even some single digits in the parts of Wyoming, Colorado, the highest elevations. And next Thursday afternoon, still some 70s in southern Arizona, California, southern Florida, 60s in Texas, and colder across the Midwest and Northeast, especially like the extreme north there, the high elevations. So be careful in those areas and stay safe in one another. And be careful